So I
Okay.
just need to click got it. There you go.
Yeah. So thank you so much for your time today, Hannah. I wonder if it would be best to introduce yourself, just say like who you are, what you do, and then I'll maybe ask you some questions about your experience of working with me.
Yes, yes. Keep me on track though, because
Yes.
I'll tend to go off on a tangent. My name's Hannah, and I am a creative director and founder of a small design agency. And yeah, I came to you at quite a critical point, I think. Um, I'm kind of making a move from the business being one type of business model. We're more of a sort of like almost like an external in-house agency, which sounds really crazy, but it's like we don't have lots and lots of clients. We've got one single client. So in the new year, we're moving to this new phase where we're going to be proper agency style and have to call in new clients and new work and that sort of thing. So my big block, roadblock in a way, was my website, which I kept coming and sitting down to it and then finding that, I was like, yeah, I'm working on it, and I'm off like fiddling with
Mm,
things. So
mm.
I'm like, I'm working a solid 3 hours on it, but what have I actually achieved? And I'm like, what's going on like with me? Like there was a wee niggle in the back of my head thinking, I actually think it's me, not the actual thing, the
Yeah,
actual project to do.
yeah.
And then when I thought about it, it's actually something that it kind of built up over time. So I've been freelance for 7 years. And actually, in that time, whenever I got to the point of like, okay, I'm going to make a website and put myself out there, somehow I didn't. And then, on word of mouth, and I'm working on, yeah, I'll work on that. We've always been busy. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like excuses, excuses, excuses. And then, yeah, I was just like, I think I need to sort myself out.
Yeah. You
What
had
is
like,
wrong with me?
yeah, what's going on? You definitely came to me like, I know it's me holding myself back. Like you had
Yeah,
that level of awareness where you could see the history repeating itself and you were in this pattern almost of self-sabotaging.
yes.
So you had that awareness. The business was going really well though, right? You
Hmm.
have an established
Yeah,
business. So for you, it was
yes,
the bigger picture, like scaling up, but this block,
yes.
the website was the catalyst for it, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And that's why obviously when you popped up and I was reading I've always said this to you, it's like when I read your kind of bit blurb about who you work with and what you're doing, I was like, I felt myself being really drawn to that and like, yeah, every question, yep, that's me. Yep, that's me. Oh my God, like all like 10 questions I could say yes to. Yeah, tick, 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 tick. And yeah, so I kind of already had an inkling, but obviously I wasn't fully either. I wasn't fully like, right, I'm looking for a coach now. It was just kind of like I could see, and all, but for me as well, so I started with you back in September, and I thought, so Christmas time is or January is my new phase.
Yeah.
And I started to like watch the months as this year went on go by. And then I got to that point where I was like, if I don't sort this out now, I'm not going to be where I need to be.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's when I thought, okay, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna go in. I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah. And it was so funny with you, like all of my one-to-one clients, there was this like, I know I need this, but I'm scared. Like there was
Yes.
hesitancy, right?
Oh yeah. There's a massive fear because I think it's like I think I always when I first started with you as well, it was a massive you categorized it, which I hadn't had before, of this all or nothing thinking. And
Mm.
I kind of like in the recesses of my mind, you kind of go, if I go there, is everything actually not what I'm supposed to do? And I'm completely on the wrong path. And well, I can't do that. And how could I go there if that everything is wrong? And you just like, you kind of block yourself from, yeah, it's like a big fear of like, but what would be uncovered here?
Yes. Yeah. Fear of
What
the
is it? I
unknown.
don't know what it is. So what will come to light? And that was like terrifying to me.
Yeah.
Um,
But we kind of
so
went there though, didn't we? In that
Oh, yeah,
first.
100%. Oh, yeah, yeah. Lots of tears, and it all makes sense to see it when it comes up. But what you do really well is you go down the layers and then it all starts to come out. And then you realize that everything is completely, it might be things that you might have popped up in my mind before, but I'm not linking it all to the big block. you
Yeah.
know, but it's all linked. You're just not aware of it because you sort of cover up,
Yeah.
cover until everything's fine, and then you just keep
Yeah.
going.
Well, we're just like very good escape artists, all of us, aren't we? Like just protecting ourselves. That's
Mm,
all we're doing. Like bless our little hearts, like trying to
mm,
protect ourselves. But I think that first session, that breakthrough session was huge for you because a lot of stuff came up,
yeah.
from when you were younger and
Yes.
your uni days and
Oh yes.
just how you've been brought up, how you've, the way your life was at school, as a teenager, at school, like all the
Yes.
things that shape us to be human beings.
Mm.
What I loved about working with you, Hannah, was that you went all in. Like there was no coming back. There was no like dipping your toe in. Like every age pattern I coached you on, you were like, yeah, bring it on. I'm ready for it. I'm gonna do the homework. And you showed up
Yeah.
100%, just completely committed. And
Yeah. Yeah.
like you're my favorite kind of client because of that. Do you know what I mean? And
I
so
think I felt that obviously I needed to. Like there was a commitment there on, okay, we're going to work together for 3 months, but equally I also knew that those 3 months can go by.
yes.
And if you're not really like, because part of my thing as well, which we uncovered, was like I'm massively sort of like I'll work. I'll be like, right, okay, if I can just blast 10 hours into that, I'll get that done. And I think part of like the sort of commitment of like, okay, you need to actually aside time for coaching in your working week, especially because obviously I have 2 kids, and when I come into work, I feel like I need to be effectively working, was also a thing that I had to sort of grapple with a bit. Now looking back, I'm like, of course, because obviously I've now done the work. So I'm like, I need more of that. But just my viewpoint then was very much like, oof, right, a commitment, big cash commitment, big time commitment. Right. Like, and I could feel the wee voices coming in at that point going, no, my mother's voice came in like, no, don't do that. Why
Yeah.
would you do that? You could work this out on your own. Like all of those little
Yeah.
voices, even though, but I had this instinct that it was the right thing. And obviously it was, because I'm feeling great now. But it's interesting because I could have, like, now when I started doing the work, I was like, oh God, those were the wee voices were saying before I started. And I could have, luckily, I didn't listen to them, but they
Yeah.
can really put you off because they want to, like you always saying, like, they want to keep you safe. So they're there to not put you out of your comfort zone because then you don't know what's going to happen. So, don't do that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was an interesting like reflection back when I was coming towards the end with you. I was like, oh right, yeah, like that was all linked as well.
Yes, yes. What was your sort of experience of all the 10 change patterns that I took you through in those 3 stages of transformation, with the healing and clearing, the awakening and alignment, and the
It's a
creation?
good question actually, because I think at the beginning, because there's a lot of deep work that you're doing, sometimes in between that, obviously you're not solved it yet. So there
Mm.
was a lot of like, you know, you're kind of coming out of that and working in your week, and sort of it was quite a lot,
Mm.
because your mind obviously, you give us a journal and I'm writing down things, and things are popping up and you're delving into your past, so you're feeling quite ungrounded at that point because obviously you're just in it.
Yeah.
So I really noticed the difference between that first few, or maybe first month or
Yeah.
six
Yeah.
weeks, and then the second, where I've got more of the tools under my belt. And I'm noticing I actually got really into post-it noting because I'm working within a team environment, and because you were always saying, right, okay, be in the emotion. And I got into, which I probably will keep doing, like, because the post-it note's really small. You're not like suddenly writing my journal
Yeah.
in the, because things would pop up, and I started writing it down. That really helped me to feel into things.
Yeah.
Because halfway through you're just completely, you feel like, oh, all this stuff is coming out, and you're applying it at the same time as learning it, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
newness,
Mhm.
which yeah, can feel slightly in the middle of it a little bit like, where is this going?
Yeah. Yeah.
I hope that I can get to the end of this. But then the second half a lot more like, yeah, give me another change pattern, I'm in. So and a lot of them are more, they're like, some of them I did feel like, oh, I have to go write that down and re-listen again and again until I got it, just
Yeah.
because. And I think because of the intensity of the course, it feels, obviously it's natural because you're giving something every week to learn.
Yes. And I think the
But that's
last
also good.
stage, you did such a nice job of, like, it is about taking that inspired action to solidify what we're doing in the coaching sessions. And you were really
Yes.
that piece of like, right, this is the game plan. This is what I'm going to do to really
Oh yeah.
stepping out of my comfort zone and all the things.
And actually, the website that I talked about at the beginning of this is like, that's the thing that I came with. And then actually what was interesting is because it is such a, like, you know, obviously, because my husband's always like, are you talking about that website again? Because like to him, he doesn't understand the link to all the craziness in my mind. And so he's just like, but you just do it, like get someone up there. But the way that I placed it as this big block to me was like, you know, other people looking in, like, yeah, I mean, why are you, is that a thing? You know? But actually then I moved through that project and I've actually managed to, like, it's not online yet, but I've just got a few tweaks. It's all signed off.
Amazing.
And that is a massive, huge achievement to me. Because the other thing was I didn't ever really have time to do it right. And I got somebody in to work with me on it. And then there was moments through that where I had the instinct to just go like, no, right, no, tell her it's not working out. Thank you very much. But, you know, I'll do it myself. Like things like that. Just mad. And then I'd have to like post-it note my way out of it, going like, right, think about it. Is she good at her job? Yes, she's amazing. Do you trust her? Yes, I do. Like, so then you can actually, I kind of worked through it and thought, oh no, that's just because I feel out of control here and I feel the big emotions. And it doesn't mean that, you know, the website's going to be shit, that she's not good. Like it's completely the opposite actually. So it's separating everything out and going, what do I actually think here? Like, or what do I want to think here?
What do I want to think? I love that.
What do I want to think? Yeah. Because you think things.
You definitely learned very quickly to quality control your thoughts and to question them. Like I picked that up. You did that really, really quite quickly. And then it's about.
But that was a massive revelation to me at the time. I was like, oh, because I think you kept saying, you know, so the feeling doesn't mean therefore that confirms the thoughts. Now that was like, that was completely light bulby moment for me, like in amongst all the, obviously it's pulling up all things and looking at them again. And it's like, well, okay, just because you thought that or you think that now doesn't mean, you know, that it's correct, it's true. And that was like, whoa. Weirdly, until you've done that deep work though, I don't think I could have done that on my own, because it's an abstract thought that I've probably read on Instagram 100 times. But until you go through the coaching, I don't think you can actually link it. It's like funny until you get somebody to actually have a look in with you.
And just
like you do,
back.
you know.
Really mirror back.
Because and I think that's the difference with that I found with the coaching, is that so the wee voices in my head is like, well, you know, you're capable, you run a business, you can do this yourself. Like this would be something you could do. But I don't think that's the case, because you're so in your own thoughts that you're watching from, you're not objective in the slightest. So you need somebody to help. Okay, have you noticed what you're saying there, and what, you know, and like what you do, and obviously what I've found is just you're so warm and sort of like you're able to go there and take me there, but I don't feel like I feel comforted by your presence there, rather than sort of like, oh, I'm being interrogated, or, you know. So thank you. I needed that for sure.
There's definitely a balance of, like, you know, giving clients a kick up the bum when they need it, but also being,
which 100% feel as well. It was good.
And you've got to be compassionate as well. And yeah, I feel like I'm pretty good at that. So like you're about to go hit live on the website, which is incredible considering that was the big block at the beginning. But also like in terms of how are you feeling now after you've been through this program?
I feel great. I think one of the things that kind of I noticed is that, so I've got a part of me that is like, you know, optimistic and that sort of thing, but I found that I was inconsistent with it. So I could go up and down and round and about. And what I found now is I can be more consistently in a good state, because you've given me the tools to help me do that. So even when I notice that, I'm thinking, because it's not like it goes away overnight, and things are still coming up as I'm doing a new thing in the business, it's still going to come up. But now I feel like I've got like, okay, great. I've got the tools now that even if I don't do it straight away, or, you know, I just feel I can always come back to it, which is really great. It feels like, okay, know what I'm going to do now. I'm
Yeah.
going to just keep going with this and practice it. And, you know, like a little bit like, you know, do a swim every week. It's like, right, go to the gym, right, do a bit of mind training, fine. Like it's kind of all part of, it doesn't, you know, you're not just cured,
Yes.
but
Yes.
it's like
I love
a comforting tool to have.
Yeah, I love how you're talking like this, because I kind of, it's not a quick fix, and it's not just like something that hope happens overnight. I feel like this is really a lifestyle change, and you will be
Mhm.
using these tools for the rest of your life, hopefully, because every new level you get to in your business, here comes self-doubt again, or here comes fear again.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
those are only human. So it's just that is the experience I believe that we're here to have, is to experience all of these different emotions as new challenges and obstacles come up. Yeah, I love how you've said that. And
Yeah, because I think for me right now, it's like I do in my mind, obviously, to people standing around, they don't know what I'm about to do or what I'm going to do, but I do feel like I'm just about to take that next little step up. So that's probably why I needed that coaching now. But then what happens when I take the next step? You know, I need to make sure that I don't fall off, like
yeah,
step on a stage and feel like, okay, I'm ready. I'm gonna try, and because I do get nerves from things all the time. Like it's not like, oh yeah, just can blast everything. It's just like things come up, you
yeah,
know, and they'll continue to come up, but it doesn't feel as scary because it's, I feel like I've separated that out from other darker thoughts
yes,
of, you know, that got uncovered. So
yeah. And so what would you say to someone who was maybe sitting on the fence about hiring me or any other coach? Like how would you sort of talk to that person who's a bit like on the fence?
I think I think for me, and obviously this might be different for everybody, but if there's an instinct there, try and listen to that. You know, like sometimes the instinct comes up and you go, oh, yes. And then what happens is the next part of it is your mind trying to talk you out of it. And you know, and then, so if you can try and sort of like stay with that instinct more or listen back in, you're not going to be able to just stay in it all the time, but just really try and listen in to what you're drawn to and what you feel is needed. I think that for me would be the key, because that's kind of what I'm trying to do now with everything. Because I get the instinct like, yeah, I'll make some work, for example, and I'm like in the flow and I'm great. And then I'll look at it back, or other voices will come in and look at it and they have their opinions. And then I go, oh, I don't know if that's right anymore.
Yeah.
But actually, if I can kind of like, no, like read it again or go back to have a look at it and then remember the instinct that drove that, that's actually the truth for
Yes.
me. You
Yeah.
know, like
Trusting
when
yourself.
trusting myself, trusting like the work, or trusting, you know, the fact that I thought I should need training with you, you know, they were all correct decisions. So, you know, I've not been proved wrong yet. Ask me again in a year what all the other decisions I've made. Because obviously not every time you're going to get it right, right, with making decisions. But I think as long as it comes from this place of like, you're in a good space, you're trusting yourself that you know what's right for you.
Yeah.
Because they will, all of the little doubts of like, oh, it's an investment, oh, it's a quite, you know, it's like the way I kind of came back to the investment was that I was like, yeah, but okay, what have, because I've just done a renovation here, for example. Like I've spent the same amount of money on damp proofing the walls in here and thought that is needed. Like it was like the building will fall apart without it.
Yeah.
And so practical spend don't have a problem with, but then like
Yes.
mind spend, actually that's gonna, my mind is hopefully going to be around for many more decades. So I need to make sure that it's going to be okay.
Yes. Yeah.
The walls are still going to be here, lovely damp proof. So
Yeah, I think that's such a good point, because I think also us mums, particularly, not just as women, but
100%. Yeah.
also mums, we're not used to investing in ourselves. You know, we're at the bottom of the
No,
list after we paid for the swimming lessons,
no,
the ballet lessons, and all the things. So
totally. Kids have got
that,
all new shoes. I'm still in like old Converse that are all
yeah,
stained. And I'm like, well, you know, fine about it. So
yeah,
yeah, you are kind of bottom of the list. But then I think part of, you know, obviously when I was working with you, and it was specific, you know, you work with entrepreneurs, but a lot of the stuff, it does affect you as a mother, and how, you know, there's certain things that I have, you know, I kind of felt like, oh, I don't really want to pass this on to my kids, you know. So there's other things that, you know, it's a life thing. It's not just isolated just to what I'm doing here at work.
It is like that. It's like a ripple effect, isn't it? Like I've found that in my own personal journey as well, that yeah, I want to show up as the best mother I can be for my kids. And this isn't this work that you do isn't just put in a box for business, but I want to
No,
be a
no.
supportive
Yeah.
wife and a good friend. And I love how you've mentioned that as well, because it's something that parenting comes up a lot, which is, you know, my cup of tea, with having spent 15 years as a behavior analyst teaching other parents how to help their kids with autism, but also because I've got 3 children. So I like to, I like how that comes up, and relationships come up as well, you know, with marriage, and it all gets
Oh, it's all linked.
all linked.
Everything is linked, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think this is kind of, it's inspiring to me, because I think we've worked many years within like sort of a kind of men's way of doing business. It's like, right, this is how we work. And I think us female entrepreneurs are changing things. We are looking at the whole thing. We're looking at connecting to, you know, the people that we're working with. We're looking at connecting home to work, and how does that all work? I don't think we've maybe solved it yet, or, you know, but I feel like we're on a journey now towards that. And that is about being connected to yourself, your mind, like your intuition, as well as, you know, working and getting stuff done and putting websites out and doing quotes and all of that kind of like masculine energy thing. You know, we can hold it all, but there could be a different way, like, to work to do it.
100%. I love that. I love that you brought that in as well. That sense of like wanting to feel like we belong and connecting with others, and using that as part of our superpower as well, as because we can have masculine energy, but we can also have feminine energy, and they both work together. So
yeah,
it's just been an absolute delight and pleasure to work with you, Hannah. You've just been
I've loved it so much. It's been like Monday mornings we normally have together, and I've always been like, right, Monday morning, sort me out for the week. So I will miss it.
Oh, well, thanks so much for your time and chatting to me with this. I really appreciate it. And,
No problem at all.
Yeah, we'll speak again soon.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.